Yes, welcome, Loony listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, a Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 96, and we have returned. We have a modern run review for you tonight, and I am one of the High Priests of Khonshu, Ray, joined by our fellow High Priests, Connorshu. Connorshu, how are you?
Hello, I am doing well for Sunday night. Excellent.
And we have Rebecca. How are you, Rebecca?
I'm good, doing well for a Sunday lunchtime.
Nice. So we've got a good time slot for you this time, I guess, which is okay.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Is it busy on Sundays for you, generally?
Well, I do 2 shifts at work and also have this weird thing that I have to start getting prepped for Tuesday for work. So it tends to be a whole day of work for me, but not like relentless work.
Yeah.
So this is actually pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not bad.
Because
Gives me a little break. And...
Yeah.
Tuesday's a nightmare.
The big one. Oh gosh. Oh well. Yeah. And Connorshu, you have been missing for a while, but
out of action.
But for good reason, right? I take it.
Working, I guess.
New job, yeah. That's good. That's cool.
Good
how's it all going?
Long and painful, but usual.
Is it like are they early hours, late long hours, late? How is it? Is it?
Yeah, it's like up at 4 a.m.
What's going on?
12-hour days. Get home.
Ooh, holy moly! Better tell me you get a 1 hour lunch break or something.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
You got union rights, damn it.
Yeah, good.
Hey.
Lovely. Well, Loony listeners, we are here. It has been a while since we've actually reviewed last week we did review the short story, Marvel Comics Presents Issue 4. But it's the last time we've been a long time since we've actually reviewed a Moon Knight comic, and we can blame Khonshu for that because Phases of the Moon and such, toy reviews, video game reviews. We've had a slew of different varied stuff, which has been fun, but it's always good to come back to the old comics. And so before we get into that anyway, this past week that's just gone, obviously massive stuff in the movie industry for any geeks out there. Avengers Endgame. Now we reckon
Hellboy, yes.
Oh, Hellboy, sorry.
Hellboy, we dropped.
Damn, sorry, Hellboy. Actually, have you? Oh, you've both seen Hellboy, yeah, as well.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. That one.
Okay, Rebecca, I know you have, Rebecca, as well. I'd be keen to hear your thoughts on that. But the big kahuna has been Avengers Endgame, and look, still put it out there. Spoilers. We're just going to have a little discussion of it now because we've all seen it. Can't wait to discuss it with both Rebecca and Connor. But anyway, if you haven't seen it, please just fast forward, check the timestamp on the episode summary, and you'll be sure to miss it. But just be warned, we're talking about it now. Avengers Endgame. My gosh. I don't know, initial thoughts, Rebecca?
I loved it. I loved it. I think what should I say? I mean, I could think of things that I have like questions about or perhaps issues with. There's definitely things I didn't love in there. But I think what they did, they gave it a solid landing for the 22 films.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. I think it's 22, isn't it now?
Yep.
They ended the story. They gave us satisfactory answers, endings, I think, for most characters, for most people.
I would agree. Well, I'd say.
I know there's people who dislike almost all of them in parts.
Wow.
I came out of it and I just felt end of an era. They gave me the big fight. They gave me this. I like that things could go wrong with the plans.
Yes.
I liked a lot of the character moments we get. My main sticking point was probably there was a couple too many fat jokes.
Oh, okay, yes, with Thor.
Yeah, and I liked what they did in challenging, in showing more heroes with PTSD reactions to what happened in Infinity War.
Yep.
But I just thought it was like somewhere about halfway through the film, I was like, you can lay off the jokes about it now. Like everyone's seen him. They all have noticed what's happened to him. They could stop, like, digging at him for it. They know why.
Yeah.
But the second when I saw it again, it kind of bothered me less. So maybe I just didn't find it as jarring because I knew it was coming.
Yeah, true.
But then my first view, that was probably the only thing that stood out as I don't know.
Okay.
And I'm not going to go into time travel. Me and Connor were talking earlier about time travel, making things make sense. It never does. No time travel entirely consistent.
Yeah, I mean, and I took it that way as well. The only thing
Except that weird physics one, but that's...
Which physics one?
I'm trying to think what it's called. The really cool time travel one, which was written by a guy with a physics PhD.
Oh, okay.
I'll look it up. Just
okay. Because I mean, I just thought. I mean, I love the film, and I was just in a state of shock at the end of it, just kind of absorbing it all and taking it all in. I guess after a while, trying to find bits that were troublesome or niggly for me. The only thing I came up with was, I guess, Tony Stark, inventing and successfully doing the time travel thing and solving it. That, I don't know, that just seemed to... It just seemed to just like, I've solved it, I've done it, and it's like, okay, that was pretty quick.
I think you've got to take the context. The context is that he's been presented with the quantum realm.
Yep. Okay.
Like, it's not like he was just sitting in his room inventing time travel.
No, he had something to bounce off.
He's had somebody who's an engineer come and explain to him, this is what happened to me. It works with quantum physics, and then he's been able to play with that idea. So he knows what could go wrong. Yeah. And so I think if he'd just invented a time machine, it would have been a bit mad. It's called Primer. If anybody's interested in time travel films, watch Primer.
Okay.
It's amazing, and it's very, very clever, and it's supposed to be one of the... I'm not a scientist, but I live with a scientist, and I think it's the most internally consistent time travel film. But but in general, all time travel films are a bit like hand wavy. So
I mean, So I mean, I thought that was just but this is like just me trying to find something, and like, because the only explanation was there was that funky computer graphic, 3D graphic he had of some sort of, I don't know, wavy strip. And that was it. It was like, oh, okay, so maybe a bit more explanation. Not that you had to get into it, but I guess that was, for me, it seemed a bit glossed over. And also, I thought, look, I'm only being picky now.
I know.
Because I was unashamedly giving it like a 10 out of 10. And I still do. I think it's absolutely fantastic. These small things just pale in comparison to the rest of it. And
I think so.
Yeah. And so the other thing I thought was maybe the first act or the first quarter or third of the film, I found it a bit unerring that there was just so much humour in it. Like, I enjoyed the humour, but it was just constant. And it was like, oh, okay. It was really light.
What I did like about the humour, though, was that most of it came with them talking to each other.
Yeah,
so it was like
it felt
friends
really
joking with each other rather than like natural conversation humour, rather than slapstick. Until they got to Thor, probably the Thor reveal was a bit more slapstick.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I initially I went into it not really wanting Steve to go to do what he did. Mm-hmm. So when that happened, I was like, this wasn't something I wanted to happen, but I think it needed to happen.
Yeah. So you were forecasting it, were you, as well? Like, I wasn't expecting it. I don't know what I was thinking at that stage.
Well,
I was still hit by Tony's.
I think knowing that contracts were coming to an end.
Yeah.
I thought if he didn't die, then that's the only other way to kind of get rid of him.
So I always thought it was just one. Like everyone kept on saying one or the other. So I thought, okay, we've only one of them. But you're right.
I thought one or both.
Yeah,
I thought one or both might die. Yeah. I didn't think Thor would. No. I certainly didn't think Black Widow would.
Well, we've got to see Thor with Hercules, of course. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Well, hopefully. I wouldn't mind seeing him Guardians of the Galaxy now, to be fair.
Yeah, I think we will. Yeah,
I think we might.
Yeah,
we'll see. I don't know. I mean, I just think it's an end, and it was a satisfying end in the end.
Oh, it's highly satisfying.
I cried a lot.
Oh yeah,
a lot.
I a couple of lumps in the old throat.
Connor, what did you think?
Yeah,
fucking hated it.
Oh jeez, Connor.
Actually, my mum didn't like it. That was sad.
Really?
No, I really liked it. Yeah, I mean, viewing as a movie, it was just like a big event. It was like the most comic book thing I've ever seen. Yeah. It was gloriously self-indulgent, and I cried a lot. It was really good.
But you know, with all the hype and stuff, and I seriously believe it. I mean, although it has its some flaws here and there. It is like a generational thing, isn't it? Like, there'll be a lot of younger kids. This would be their Star Wars. That's what I see. And this build-up.
But it's kind of like it's more like a Harry Potter.
Yeah,
because of the 10-year span. I mean, people have grown up with it.
Yes, yeah, that's a better comparison.
I mean, like, because I had Star Wars because I was 7 when the first one came out.
Yeah.
So I grew up with Star Wars, but it was kind of done by, my teens, my early teens, and then not back again for like, however many years, 15 years or so. Yeah. Whereas this has been like relentlessly 1, 2, 3 films a year.
22 films over a decade.
In 11 years,
yeah. That's crazy.
So, I remember going to see the first Iron Man film in the cinema.
Yeah.
And, I was already, like, obviously way adult. I can't imagine, like, starting that in my teens and then watching this and, like, and it's such an event, and so much could have gone wrong.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
Especially after Infinity War, which also had the same struggle of how do you get all these characters. In fact, it had more characters, but how do you get them all into a satisfying film? And I think did it. Yeah. And then now you have to and now we've got to try and reset this without it being too naff or guessable.
Yeah. I know they did it. They did it with, and they addressed a lot of things, which. It just amazed me how many, and they got comic book references in there as well for the comic book fans.
Many comic references. It has to have been the most.
And like recent comic book references, I was looking at, oh my God, like Thor referring to Asgardians of the Galaxy. I'm going. Wow,
I thought that was hilarious.
That's so
but
cool.
I also don't know how much of those they did, knowing that they're. I mean, I'm sure they do know that they're modern runs. But I think they would have been. They're fun jokes anyway. Like the Hail Hydra jokes works if they've never read the Nick Spencer run.
It does. It does
because it works with Winter Soldier.
It does.
And as Guardians of the Galaxy is just a great pun.
Yeah.
Which we've only just had a comic about. Like
True.
so, it's just like.
But you got Sam taking the shield.
But I mean, look,
that's
Sam taking the shield is definitely a nod.
So they were subtle enough, but they were not to be exclusive of people who don't read
Cap
comics.
holding Mjolnir, Tony holding the gauntlet.
Yeah. It's really, it was really good. Sorry. Anyway, Connor, what were the big moments for you then? Like,
I mean, I really love the opening, just the really, just straight into opening that just led down to the 5 years later's failure path. I really like that really worked. It was real leftovers, and I love that show.
It was so leftovers.
Oh, was it? Okay, yeah. That 5-year gap as well was a big hit for me. Like it being 5 years later. I loved how
they did it though. 5 years later.
Yeah, it's kind of really depressing because it's that length of time has passed and. Nothing's been rectified. I thought that was very powerful. But so, okay. I don't know. Anyone see Moon Knight? There were a couple of really, someone, I saw on one of the pages, so they had the little kid from Iron Man 3 in there as well, yeah?
Yeah.
I did not see him at all.
Yeah,
at the funeral. Mm-hmm. Oh, him. Okay. I remember thinking, who is that guy? That's him. All right, he's grown.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many, lumpy throat moments. The ones that got me was Morgan talking to Happy at the end, and like she was just like,
cheeseburgers.
yeah, just cheeseburgers, and like she just kept on saying, okay. She's quite young, and she, I guess, doesn't get the full brunt of what's happened. Yeah, so little stuff like, and the obvious things like Spidey catching up with Tony Stark. When they come back, and obviously that big moment when they all come back as well. That was that was so cool.
That was lovely.
Yeah. I'm hoping I know it's impossible like to get it to work logistically, but I'm hoping in some far off deluxe edition they'll just like CGI, all the other Marvel characters from Netflix and ABC and all that. But then you never see them again.
But they don't need to.
I know they don't. But it was because I didn't even think of that while I watched it. Like I was just still in awe at all these portals opening up and just everyone coming back, and then just talking about the movie afterwards with the friend I went with. It's like, oh yeah, that would have been pretty cool because it actually, that's a great entrance to have them come in.
It would have been sweet. It would have been nice to have Coulson, but they'd have had to explain it. They've not seen him. Blah blah blah. Yeah. It's difficult.
No, I was thinking about the Defenders. They wouldn't really last long anyway. I'm all like, I don't know, Daredevil and Iron Fist wouldn't at least.
Iron Fist would have managed a little.
Yeah, true. Daredevil probably not. I mean, up against those ghastly aliens. Like he huffs and puffs after beating 2 or 3 people.
Yeah, and Luke's very good against like bullets, but I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, cool. So it was a great ending. Really enjoyed it. Where do we see the MCU from here though? Starting afresh. Obviously, Black Panther, Spider-Man. Captain Marvel will be the big
Doctor
Strange, as well, will be the big ones going forward.
Shang-Chi.
I'm wondering how he factors into it.
Well, I assume he's gonna take Black Widow's role as the hand-to-hand combat person.
Right. Yeah.
Once he's been introduced, admittedly, we don't really know. We know nothing.
Yeah, and then you have the Eternals, so there's still a bit more of a cosmic angle.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll keep them more separate along with Guardians, but who knows? We literally have no idea. So I'm trying not I'm trying to think about it too much. I mean,
it's exciting.
We know that it is. We've got the Black Widow film coming up, which is going to be interesting now. We've got the TV shows, which will be fun. We have Sam Cap, obviously, so let's put him in there. Bucky, still.
Yeah. That Black Widow's death really threw me a bit because I kept on just thinking, hang on, isn't there like a movie coming out?
It'll be interesting. But so same with WandaVision.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because Vision never came back. Oh, he's on the scrap heap.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll have to say it's really. I mean, Feige also said that they're not going to do anything like this again. It's going to be all kind of standalone.
I think it makes more sense.
Yeah. With it being kind of Ragnarok-esque, I think with cameos, I think that would still work. But you wouldn't, because one of the big things with Marvel is this continuity, or this tying in. So they're still going to have to maintain it somehow. But if they aren't,
I think they could still do that, but just without
a big culmination thing at the end. Yeah. Okay. Well, Go see. I'm sure it's in the cinemas. Oh my gosh! Also, as well, the news about it cracking over 1 billion over a weekend. That's crazy. Yeah,
it's gonna beat Avatar for sure. Kick that guy.
I hope it does.
God, I hope it does. And it's like nothing against Avatar, but everything against Avatar.
I've never seen it, so it's.
I saw it. I mean, like everyone went to see it because of the 3D, and like the 3D. Look, there's a lot of good things about Avatar. I'm really not going to dump on it, but it is a pretty basic story.
Yeah.
It's just a well done basic story. And it got the box office it got because it had like a re-release in the same period, didn't it, or something like that? They boosted it or something like that. So like it's a record that's still going to be tough to break. There's a lot of people still saying that Endgame won't get there, but it'll take every other record, and
it amazes me, like the stuff of like Avatar and Titanic and all that still are like way up there. With the amount of money that you see shifting for some of these big tentpole movies, it's amazing how they can't be caught. But I reckon if any film could, it'd have to be Endgame. I mean, that's like over a decade in the making. So yeah, I guess we'll have to see. Anyway, so yep, still in the cinemas. I'm hoping to catch it again in some capacity. Connor, you've seen it more than once.
I have seen it twice now, yes.
Twice. Rebecca, how many times for you?
3 times.
Oh my god, excellent. I've got to catch it. How was it the third time?
I really enjoyed it, but I was also the most awake I'd been.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I saw it in 3D the third time, so I just did that.
Oh, okay. 3D. Oh, yeah. Was it good? 3D?
It was good. It was quite subtle. It was like not intrusive space, which I kind of like that.
Not like, oh, look what we can do with 3D, like blatant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Oh, fair enough. All right. Well, yeah, that was it for our end game, I guess, discussion. Just moving on to, I guess reading recommendation. What everyone's been reading. Connor, how you always read a lot? What's been on your plate lately?
I've read a lot. I've been. I actually haven't read a lot of this week's comics, but I read some of next week's comics, which may coincide with what's coming up when this podcast is released. So
okay,
it's a pretty good time for comics. A lot of really good stuff coming out. I just want to give a shout out to Fallen World coming out from
it's
part of the 4000 AD saga. One of my favorite parts of what do you call it? Valiant Universe.
Yes.
Ascender, Jeff Lemire's sequel to Descender is great.
Ascender.
And it's sci-fi, and I love those things together.
Lovely.
New Black Widow series as well. I really like that.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Yeah, I've heard so many good things. You tell me such good things about it. I've heard elsewhere that is really good, and yeah, got to check it out. Rebecca, have you been reading it or digital?
No.
No, okay.
But I want to. So.
Yeah, Flaviano, Soska Sisters. Love all their works before.
Yeah, no, it looks good. I've only seen the covers, but I know that the art inside's different. So, yeah. Anywho, Rebecca, any good, tasty morsels of comics lately?
I haven't read much. Go to the cinema a lot. Fearscape, finished.
Oh, yes.
What where's that from?
The Greatest Vault. You have to be able to put up with pretentious bullshit. But I did an English lit degree, so pretentious bullshit is my thing.
Best pretentious bullshit.
It is the best. It takes the piss out of comic readers. It takes the piss out of creativity. It's really, really clever, and it's really good. And it's a mini series, so it's done now. 5 issues. The trade will be great. That was a lot of fun. And then I've just been sort of dipping in and out. Winter Soldier was another good mini-series. That one just finished.
Was that the Rod Reyes one?
Ago.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the Rod Reyes, Kyle Higgins. Trying to think if I read anything else this week I really loved. Probably not.
No.
But I didn't hate anything either. I just haven't watched. I mean, obviously Marvel Comics Presents. Let's...
Oh, yeah.
Before I say I haven't read anything. Yeah, I have. I'm just trying to think. No, actually not much.
No?
Else.
Okay.
No, I've got to do a big catch-up. I want to read the new Thanos.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that would be good.
And that's it. Yeah, next week is... there's a few things I want to pick up next week, so...
Yeah. Yeah, finally got I'm all caught up, as in having them with me, like physically having them. Still got to read them all, so still have a whole pile. But I'm going back a few weeks. But one of the picks I would have to say is Amazing Spider-Man, the Dot HU. They've got these one shots about particular.
Oh yeah. Hunted.
Yes, about for the hunted thing, and I read the Gibbon one. I don't know if you've heard or.
I meant to read them, but I can't deal with weekly comics. And
I know
this is me out.
Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man one. They're just churning it out. But the Gibbon story one shot is really, really nice. It's nice as in it's quite sad actually, but told really well by Nick Spencer. It basically just profiles the Gibbon, and he's basically a really hapless criminal who wanted to do good, but he's been taunted and bullied all his life, and anyway, it's very well told, so that's a massive standout for me as well. Apart from that, Pluto, Connor, the thing I've read, that's really cool. I just love how it ties into the Astro Boy, strongest robot in the world episodes there, so that's been keeping me busy.
Cool.
Yeah, but all the weeklies, yeah. I mean, of course, Marvel Comics Presents. We'll get to that as well. Mm-hmm. Don't you worry. Look, why don't we... finally, I put it in here as well, just to throw it out there. I thought might as well. Anyone have, apart, because we were talking about Endgame just then, any recommendations for films that you've seen or TV that you're watching at the moment?
I've been watching a lot of very British films.
Yeah?
Not really, because I don't know if they'll come out anywhere else.
There was that one that you posted, and I asked what that was, and you said it's like a low-budget British thing or something.
We just had two in quick succession. I would see Red Joan and Wild Rose. They're both... Wild Rose is great.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they'll make to wider distribution, so...
I can't wait to see none of these in Toowoomba, Australia.
I just, anytime they're sort of British, not indie films, but kind of like, low budget, you kind of know that they're probably not going to make it.
They're just local.
I wish they did, though. I love those films. Well,
they're good,
I mean, like, Wild Rose is kind of like La La Land, but with a Scottish ex-jail single mother who wants to be a country singer in Nashville.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Sounds
Red Joan's about a woman who was arrested in her 80s for being a spy for Russia during the war.
Oh. Okay, cool. Intriguing.
Yeah, so pretty cool.
And Connor, yourself, any film or TV recommendations?
I haven't seen much in the way of films, but I watched all of Fleabag. That was the best.
Is that a...
Phoebe Waller-Bridge, she played, was it L337?
Yeah.
Right.
Solo.
In Solo.
Oh, I haven't seen that either.
The Bot. She played the Bot.
Right.
Yeah, it was just incredible series. I laughed, I cried, it was just so good.
She also wrote Killing Eve, which you might have heard.
I've heard of that, yes.
Little British show called Killing Eve.
And I'm also watching that because the second season, and that's the best thing coming out every week. But Barry's also good. I watched all of Derry Girls as well. That's very funny.
You really are ODing on British stuff.
I feel like I've caught up with everything America's doing at the moment. I gotta spread my borders.
I love that. Are they on streaming like Netflix or Stan or something or would you rather not answer that?
On Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay.
Derry Girls is on Netflix, and Killing Eve
is around.
Yeah, BBC has it. SBS On Demand has the first season.
Oh, okay.
I believe.
For Aussie loonies out there. Okay, cool, nice. I not much other than I've been up to date with Cloak and Dagger. I watched that. I think that's cool.
Right.
Yeah, it's up to episode 5 now, I think. Really good. I mean, it's quite entertaining. I can't really fault it for what it wants to do. It does quite well. Catching up on Runaways as well, season 2, because I know that there's...
How are you finding season 2?
I'm actually enjoying it. Again, I've kind of adjusted my mindset to this particular type of show, so it's kind of like, okay. I'm not comparing it to any Netflix shows or any other shows like that I watch at the moment, like Umbrella Academy, or it is what it is. It's a fun kind of family entertainment thing. Are you watching it as well?
Yeah, I watched it. I thought it was a bit. I liked some of it, but I just wish there was less about the parent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, true. I mean, there's a lot of drama between all the characters, so I mean that's a little fun. And the whole reason as well is that because there's got to be a crossover between them and Cloak and Dagger. There's been speculation.
I hope so.
Yeah, well, there's been speculation. I think Runaways said that they are going to be actively expanding or making more of a stamp or something in the Marvel Universe. So people are thinking, okay, well, obviously they're going to have guest appearances or crossovers, so that will be pretty fun. Other than that, I'm watching an old series called Kim's Convenience. It's set in Canada about a Korean family. It's a comedy. It's pretty funny. So that's a high recommend. Eve and I, we're kind of burning through that at the moment. So yeah. So a little bit of everything there for you loonies. But fear not, we are going to be back on track now with our White Noise, our new segments, all on Moon Knight for you. And basically, I guess we can distill these into basically the 2 bits of news, basically. And the big one, which had been posted up in our group, was the Mezco toys. Up for pre-order for US customers only, I believe. I'm not sure if they work, if it's just US only or it's not Australia. So I don't know, Rebecca, if over there in the UK.
I haven't looked.
You haven't looked? No. Okay. But it's still a very handsome figure, worth getting.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really nice. Well, all the Mezco toys are. I had a look at all the other ones, and they have a Daredevil one based on the Netflix show.
Yeah, they do nice stuff.
Beautiful. So anyway, a bit more information, a lot more flashy photos there of the toy up for pre-order. So that's been banding about on the internet. There's also an article on Geekbeat number 18 for anyone interested in the Mezco toy. Had a bit of a quick read. It's a bit of a summary of the history of Moon Knight. Nothing that we loonies don't know already. And the next bit of news, and we can tie this into our Mooney missives, as well as Rebecca and Connor, your thoughts on Marvel Comics Presents number 4. There are a couple of articles that review it. Truth be told, I haven't read these articles. One from Flickering Myth and one from AIPT Comics. They've released it. Loonies will know that last week, myself and Wayne from King's Comics, we did our little review of the Moon Knight story, their Book of Dreams. We've got some more feedback from some loonies, but before we get into that, we wanted to know your thoughts on it. Connor, did you enjoy it?
I'm going to keep it real with you, Chief.
Yep.
I didn't read it.
No,
Totally
I was stealing myself. I thought you were going to say you hated it or something. Oh wow!
Yeah, I was going to read it tonight. I was going to read the other night, but then I saw Endgame again. I just never got around to it. I've only heard good things. I've loved what I've seen at it, but I have not.
Okay.
Jumped in yet.
Oh no worries. It's a shorty, but yeah, be keen to hear your thoughts on it. Rebecca, what did you make of it?
I really liked it.
Yeah, you liked it.
I mean, I think it's hard not to like.
Yeah.
It was very stylish. The art was lovely.
Mm.
It was very dreamlike.
Yes.
It had a nice voice to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really liked it. I would like to see more about it.
Yes, that's one of the big things I guess Wayne and I were discussing. Knowing full well it's a 10-pager, just that it really needed more. And it would be good to see more from Percy and Ferreira.
I love Percy anyway, so and I love what he's done with the Wolverine podcast and stuff like that.
Have you been listening to the new one?
Yeah.
Is it okay? I'm waiting for it to be free.
It's very good.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Gander.
And no, I mean I don't even know what else to say about it. It's like
it's hard because it's so short.
I think it's going to be a while before we get a Midnight story stylistic, and it was very stylistic, which I liked, and that's what 10 pages a story can do very well. So I thought it suited the shortness, but I would obviously like to see more in that vein. So, yeah.
We talked about the art as well, and I really loved. I think it was the first 3 pages. It was a really different style to it, and then it changes style. Wayne said it changed it a couple of times in the course of those 10 pages. I would have loved to have seen it just done like the first 3 pages all throughout, because I love that kind of style. It's very different. It's not, you don't see that kind of style in comics that often, especially in Marvel. So yeah, that would have been good. And that fight scene, the splash page, was just really, really good there. So and a lot of nods to the previous Moon Knight runs. So okay. Well, we do have some more feedback. We read out, I think, one bit of feedback last week. We've got a few more here. There are 3 here. It works neatly. Shall we take one each?
Yeah.
Cool. Sounds good.
Connor, do you want to take the first one?
Yes, this is from James Young. He says, overall, I enjoyed it. The fact the story was limited to 10 pages was the only downside of this. If it could have, and it certainly should have, been allowed perhaps 2 more parts in the next 2 issues of MCP, I think this truly would have flourished. I absolutely love the tribute to Ellis and Shelby's MK. They picked up on the Scarlet and Sleep element straight away. I'm hoping that the intention of this spotlight was to test the waters for the next volume of Mooney. I'd love to see what Benjamin and Juan could do. Harkening back to less convoluted rating system, I give this 3.75 crescent darts out of 5.
Come on, James. You got to use the patented
love the
convoluted. Yeah. No, but thank you for the feedback there. I totally agree with you. It would be. I'd love to think of this as testing the waters, and from the sounds of it, it seems to be very positive. So, as we've mentioned, I'd love to have Percy and Ferreira back in the saddle for a series down the track. But we can only hope. Rebecca, we have the other one from our group,
from Chad. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He says, I felt like Mark's spotlight was a 1-inch punch. While short, the excerpt proved to illustrate the gloomy cerebral side of Moon Knight, threw our Avenger through a short gauntlet in the vein of longer raids, and baited a few hooks into the mythological and mental schisms that we're keen on. I also felt that this truth demon in Wolverine spotlight may also yield ammunition in the Night atmosphere for obvious reasons. The art was phenomenal, and the narrative was sharp and silk. Blue Moon.
Blue Moon.
Ooh.
All right, Chad, he's certainly taking out the big guns. Thank you for that. It'd be interesting as well. Rebecca, I'm assuming you'd read the other stories as well in the issue?
Yeah.
I only read them after we recorded last week. The Wolverine one, I can see that. The Truth Demon somehow tying into the Bodiless, maybe, the Dream Demon.
Yeah, it'd be interesting because it's like a 12-part thing, so that one might actually tie up by the end of the run, but who knows?
Yeah, and actually I liked the, Wayne mentioned it last week, I hadn't read it, it was a Spider-Man one. I really liked that one, actually. It was
cute.
Yeah, and it was based on, all revolving around the premiere of Star Wars. I thought it was really good, yeah, it's just, nice little story, very tight. But yeah, no, thank you, Chad. And finally, not often we get a comment from our YouTube page, and this is from user Sister Mercy. They say, I thought this story was amazing. Even though they used the more modern Mr. Knight persona, it still had the same feel as the classic Moon Knight one-shots from the Hulk magazines way back in the day. The final few panels were great, pulling the plug. Oh man, I love this so much. Better than anything in the Bemis run. I'll even be in the minority and say I like this better than the Lemire stuff. It also felt a lot like the Ellis run. This was a 5 out of 5 for me. First 5 out of 5 since the Ellis run. Thank you, Sister Mercy. Wow, those are powerful statements there. Look, of course, everyone's tastes are different. That's awesome. But yeah, so a big fan of the Ellis run. No surprises here that Sister Mercy enjoyed this one, which obviously harkened a lot to the Ellis run. So thank you, Loonies, for that. Marvel Comics Presents number 4, still available out there. Get it while it's hot. And keep those comments coming in. Alrighty, well, let's just take a little short break right now. We'll just throw to a quick message. And when we'll be back, we'll talk about our Lunapic review, the Modern Run, and this was actually a listener request from James Young. So, catch you back here soon.
Hi, this is Dave.
And I'm Stu, and we're from the Signal of Doom.
We're proud members of the Collective, and you're listening to Into the Night, a Moon Knight podcast.
Welcome back, Loony listeners, to part 2 of episode 96, where we are covering Moon Knight Volume 5, Issue 13, The Uses of Restraint.
Fantastic. Yes, released December 2007, written by Charlie Huston, arts, pencils and inks, Tomm Coker, colorist
Tomm Coker.
Tom. Sorry, helps.
I even changed it in the file so you wouldn't say that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Anyway, colorist Dean White, letterer Joe Caramagna, and editor-in-chief. I've got the book in here. I should have had a look at the editor, but that's Joe Quesada. So anyway,
it's Axel Alonso.
Axel,
the editor.
Yeah. Our old friend Axie. Okay, well.
Axie.
You just love throwing Y's on the ends of names at this point, don't you?
We're Aussie, all right? Everything just.
I'd like to say that Tomm Coker and Joe Caramagna are two of the nicest people I've ever met at cons.
Oh, okay, right. Awesome.
But hey, that's a random.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm interested in Tom's stuff because I checked out a lot of his other stuff. Really, really nice art.
Black Monday Murders.
Right.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And he did Daredevil Noir, I believe.
Yeah, right. That's where I saw it. Yep. Daredevil Noir is the one that I cited. Anyway, this issue 13, is available on Comixology, Kindle, Marvel Unlimited. It's available as a single issue. It's in a soft cover trade paperback, is what I'm reading it on now, tonight. As well as it's in a hardcover version of that trade paperback as well. Both of those are pretty hard to find, I think, out of print now. So best bet is Marvel Unlimited if you haven't read it. Anyway, as usual, Loonies, it's been a while, but we usually start with a sliver, so a small synopsis to summarise the issue, and then I guess we'll just dive into it, just talk about what we liked, what we didn't, and we end off with our patented convoluted moon rating system. You'll pick it up along the way. Anyway, sliver time. Connor, would you like to do this?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
It is the goddamn Civil War, baby. It's the Superhero Registration Act, and Iron Man comes to Moon Knight and he's like, "Hey, you got to do this." And so this issue is mostly him dealing with his role as a vigilante and being interviewed to get his sort of card to continue being a vigilante.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, things that happen there.
That's it. That's quite well told. And so, I'm assuming, Rebecca, this would have been cool. Iron Man at the beginning, nice little.
Albeit, nice. I always like to say Red Scully Iron Man. Why not?
Yeah, goggly-eyed Iron Man. I mean, let's talk about the art first then with Tomm Coker. This is a shift because prior we had David Finch and we had Miko Suian on the second art. What did you think of this art?
I really like it. I like it's very atmospheric. It's quite dark. It's very into noir and stuff like that.
Yes.
So
Yeah, he certainly draws Moon Knight different enough for it. It reminds me a lot of like in the way Alex Maleev does like the realism.
yes, it's kind of like that, but it's just much more kind of shadowy version of Alex.
Yeah, and the inks have a big say in this, no, I thought this art was good. It suited this story. This was a nice little. It can be seen as a one-off, standalone story. Connor, did you like the art?
Yeah, I love Coker. His work on Black Monday Murders. It's a really phenomenal book. I always love when more of that comes out. Yeah, it totally reminds me of Leave on Daredevil, and it's I just really love its grittiness. I love that atmosphere. I especially love during the end when he kind of just gets around to beating the crap out of some people, and the way blood's used is really atmospheric. Yeah,
for sure. Even with his portrayal of Moon Knight as well, I'm looking at that kind of blood-soaked page. I'm assuming you're talking about there, Connor. And he draws a very cool, very, I don't know, what do you call it? Brooding, mysterious Moon Knight. I like it how the hood is not consistently just, heroically poised. It kind of flops down on his head and face. It kind of makes him look more spectral, more really like a ghost, rather than the more comic booky kind of hood that you see on Taskmaster, stuff like that, Hobgoblin. Look, I'll jump into one of my favourite bits of this, which is, I guess it's the main bit, is the psychological assessment he has with the doctor. I'm just trying to see his name. I can always...
Mac, was it?
Is it? Yeah, is it Mac? Deptford, Dr. Deptford. Yep. Yes. Anyway, I love the portrayal of Mark's personalities, identities here, and I think coupled with the art, it gave off a really scary vibe to it. Like you can actually see in his facial expressions him changing character. Yeah.
It's very cleverly done.
Yep. And even added to that layer as well is the little ruse that they put.
Yeah.
On him, with Mark actually working with the profile on this one, which is yeah. So yeah, I mean that was a good one. Any other big points here, Rebecca, Connor, that you enjoyed about this issue?
I think just going through Moon Knight, I think whenever you get an issue, Detective Flint.
Yes.
Whenever it's that, it's a good issue. I love Flint, and he's such a good, bouncing point for Moon Knight, and the way street level works so easily tied to the police at this point. Just kick off with him. It's just so good. I love, and it's just a lot of people come together. I love the profile. Easily some of the best parts of an already pretty remarkable run at this point, the 2006 run.
Yeah,
it's just used such great effect. Their dynamic is, it's just so bleak, and this is such a bleak issue, but it really works. Bleak. What's happening in the Marvel universe.
I think it's a really interesting reflection of the initiative. Like when you think of some of the books that came out of it, and then you have this one where they don't want to pass him. And then he pulls off this whole thing, and then he, it kind of shows a really interesting side to Moon Knight and to what Mark's able to pull off.
Yeah.
And sort of getting the registration and going ahead with it all in the sort of wider context of what's going on in Marvel. well, everyone's a little bit more chipper and cheerful, and but still also recovering from this horrific civil war.
Yeah, it kind of just emphasizes the fact that he's an outsider as well. Which
very much, and that people don't trust him, and that,
like he's like the whole thing about him and the Avengers, or him as a registered hero. They don't even really, they're still unsure about him, which rightly so. I mean, this is quite a bloody. Well, I say that as well, but a lot of the blood can be brought to Marlene. She has a good go as well with some keys. So this is very grisly. Oh, actually, that was it with the Detective Flint, Connor. He's not used enough, I think, as well. I agree. I really love Detective Flint. But we see here the branding that Moon Knight does on the victims. And again,
the multiple brandings on some of them.
Yeah, some repeat offenders, naughty.
Yeah, creepy as hell.
Yeah. So again, this coupled with not that long ago, Moon Knight ripping or cutting the face off Bushman really does again emphasize just how dark this guy goes. So kind of very different from, kind of same but not, like with the Punisher. I mean, if anything, I think he's probably, I don't know, probably a step further, because he's, I don't know, he's not just killing them. Well, he's not killing them. I mean, I guess that's a terrible thing, right, to kill someone, but he's doing terrible, terrible things to criminals. So, yeah.
I think another point, just with Rebecca talking about, the way we view the Civil War, it's such a almost crippling look at that vigilantism. Not just that he can get through this easily, but just how a system like that can so easily fail, and then how vigilantism works itself with Mark's really brutal acts.
Yep.
And I think that and that's just another thing about why I think Coker was brought onto this issue specifically. I think he just has such a handle on just like, this is obviously a terrible time for everyone in Mark's life, in the superhero community, crime in general, just people on the street, and you just get every facet of that just represented so full on.
It's almost like they're in the DC world.
Hey. But
I'm
I feel
not
like
saying it though. But it's much more. It has the art sometimes gives you that kind of sense of brooding cities that we don't often get in Mark consistently.
The only Hell's Kitchen is the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
But yeah, true.
And I think that's another thing as well. This is so bleak, but it just didn't feel. It was definitely meant to be oppressive. With its bleakness, but I did walk away from it feeling like unnecessary.
No,
I don't. No. I think it used.
No, I think the session where he's like ends up with the guy on his knees bowing to Khonshu, and then him saying, "Yeah, I was just faking them all," gives it a certain lightness to it. Because if that had been real, that would in a way be. But you're never really sure. Is it not? Mark thinks, are they taking out? There's a lot of interesting kind of interplay there. I think it works on a few different levels, which I guess is why it's a standout issue.
Yeah, that is a good point about that. That reveal, I guess, towards the end with Mark in cahoots with the profile, because it does change it that tone a little. But yeah, this is certainly very dark. Rebecca, you mentioned you'd read a lot of the initiative stuff, right? I'm unfamiliar with.
Not for a long time, but
okay.
Yeah, I mean,
So they ran through all these different titles, I'm assuming, and they just showed other people.
Yeah.
They
should, because what they do is they set up this sort of register. You get assigned, you get training how to use your powers. There's a lot of interesting things come out from. But,
okay.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it sounds actually pretty... I'd like to actually see, in different titles, how it's handled, like people wanting to get themselves registered. A lot of it goes the other way, right? I guess the stories of people veering away. Yeah. Okay.
I think the initiative is mostly do sign up.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
okay.
they're certainly the ones I read, sort of coming out of it. But it's been a long time since I've read them.
Yeah.
And I barely remembered this one, honestly.
Mm.
And I knew he was part of the initiative, and I've seen the covers a million times. I've got some of them downstairs. So, yeah, it was just interesting.
Were there many? I mean, I know it's been a long time and stuff, but I'm just compared to this one with Moon Knight. Were there many reluctant memberships?
I don't think anyone. I mean, anyone who was on the other side in Civil War was going to be a reluctant sign up.
Yeah, right.
So.
Oh no, I mean, as in not as in the initiative reluctantly say they reluctantly signed.
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because I mean, again, that would define Moon Knight over a lot of the other ones. It'd be interesting to see.
I mean, he clearly is.
Yeah.
Quite different than the others, whether people sort of trust him in his mental.
Yeah. Yeah. They're very, and of course we get popping up Khonshu in the guise of, at the very beginning, a defaced bushman dressed as Iron Man, popping up to haunt Mark or Moon Knight, and he pops up a couple of times. I really like that panel. There's a couple of panels later on where he's in that evaluation room and you see Bushman through the window, and that was I thought a little bit of a light moment, because although he's kind of got a demonic look, just him peering through, just having a little smile through the window, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. So this was Rick Ball's, actually one of his Isla Ra books, and I tell you, this was close to. I was considering this when I was doing a list as well. This would have to be one of my favourite Moon Knight issues. Only because I guess it just works really well just by itself, and it has it really does show the, albeit it was fake at the end, the multiple, the different identities of Moon Knight on show during that assessment. I really enjoyed this. Connorshu, any other thoughts on this before we?
I think we covered it. I think this works really well in the run, just in general, because it's actually probably the most we've seen of Marlene and Frenchie at this point since the beginning.
Oh yeah.
And
since the bottom, yeah.
I feel like they're dealt with really well, and how they're living their life, and how, once again, we're looking at Mark's psychology, and there's such a good bouncing point again of what Mark's effect on them.
Yeah.
Which is also just as much how Mark destroys himself, so
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking through this this trade that I have, and actually this issue 13 kind of caps it off. There's an annual after it, but kind of annuals are always slightly separated from the main issues of stuff. So yeah, it does really round out a nice arc there for Mark as well. Okay, well, ratings. Shall we get into it? Rebecca, what would you give this?
Whatever 7 equates to.
7. Let me look that up for you.
I'm not learning your rating.
That's a good waning gibbous.
Okay, waning gibbous.
Waning gibbous, Rebecca. Thank you very much. A 7 out of 10, which is a pretty decent score. It's nice.
Yeah.
Connorshu, how about you?
I would give it a waxing gibbous on the 8 side of things.
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
There's a good place to issues like this. If I had to read issues like this ways, I would get so sick of them. But this is, a really good issue tonight. With, I think that's really sold by how good Coker's art is.
Yeah, look, I would be leaning more towards your marking, kind of, but the more higher end for the waxing gibbous. I'd say 8.5 to 9. I really did enjoy this. The art is, I do love this sort of art. I love a lot of different sorts of art, but this really works for this story and for Huston's writing as well, and just the way that Huston handles the characters, like not only Moon Knight, but of course the incidental characters like Khonshu and the Profile and Detective Flint, and as you say as well, Marlene and Frenchie in here as well,
and Iron Man.
And Iron Man, Iron Man, yes, albeit,
not nice.
Beautiful splash page as well, which is not long into it. The third page, I think it's quite iconic now of Moon Knight just diving off the rooftop. And again, for me, it's a different look of Moon Knight. It just gives a slightly more like realistic on how the costume would fall on him. And that actually gives him, to me, a more of a scarier look. All right. Well, there you go, Loonies. That would be 8. Average of about 8. 8 out of 10. There you go. A very decent score there. Right. Well, I mean, I think that kind of wraps us up for this show. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for
Thank you. It's
dropping.
been lovely to talk to you guys.
Yeah, it's been a while. But hopefully we can get you on. We are fast hurtling towards our episode 100.
Oh my God, yes, have to be on this.
We are too.
Big things happening, big things moving and a shaking there. So we've got to come up with something there that'd be fun. I don't know if you guys are up for another radio play-ish intro or something. I don't know. We'll see.
We should definitely do something. Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining. Connorshu, always great to have a chat with you. Good to hear that things are going well, keeping busy, staying off the streets. You know, that's how we like it. Look, no particular spectacles out for this episode, but next phase. So our episode 97, getting closer and closer. It will be a waxing crescent, and it is again another Lunapic review, but it will be a classic run. So we haven't done one of them in a while, and we'll be looking at Moon Knight Volume 1, Issue 5, which is Ghost Story. I believe this is probably the first issue of the Volume 2, Shadows of the Moon, of the Moon Knight Epic Collection. So that's a highly recommended collection of Moon Knight. If you haven't got many Moon Knight comics, try to look up that, so that's good. And we'll have a special guest as well, Adam Barnhart from the Marvel News Desk podcast. He'll be coming on. He got in contact with me. He's a keen Moon Knight fan. He said, why not? Ooh. Let's have a chat about Moon Knight, and let's talk about a Doug Mensch Sienkiewicz issue. They're always fun to talk about. Anyway.
Yes.
Finally, Connor, where can our fair loonies find us?
Where can they find us? They can find us at our website, intothenightpodcast.wordpress.com. We are facebook.com/ITKMoonKnight. We are facebook.com/group/ITKMoonKnight. For all our great fans, all the people like Chad, Be Kind, all the good people in there, join there. It's just a fantastic community constantly going off. That's where we first saw the news. Before any of us could even get to it about the Mezco figures, they're on it.
Yes.
With Twitter at ITKMoonKnight, Instagram, Tumblr, YouTube, podcast catchers, iTunes. If you'd like to give us a rating on there, we'd love that too. That's where we are.
Excellent. And finally, iTunes ratings. If you could possibly leave a review, let us know how we can improve the show. We're always up for changing things up. Or if you're quite happy with what you hear, that would really help us reach more Moon Knight fans out there. So it'd be very much appreciated. Anyway, that pretty much... Oh, of course, there's podcast catchers where we're out there. Just look us up. So, anyway, that wraps up this episode. As mentioned, thank you so much, James Young. Listener request. It was fun to go through this issue again. I'll put in the show notes as well Rick Ball's Isla Ra episode, which I believe is that We're Not Jenna's Sons, we go through, I think we go through a panel by panel of this this issue. So there's more goodness for this issue if you want to hear more of it. Anyway, with that being said, may Khonshu watch over the denizens of the night. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.